We are here today to announce that the Justice Department has secured felony guilty pleas from the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance.
Actually, it's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Largest virtual.
Binance.
Binance. And let me be clear. It's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Council has discussed crypto regulations and legislations at length, and we have come to the conclusion that instead of regulating, we are going to ape a fat bag each into laptop and pump it to over $1,300,000,000,000,000,000,000,000 market cap. Let's fucking go, crackheads.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Morning Coffee. Obviously, I got my coffee locked and loaded, ready to go, because we have to talk about the Bitcoin halving, because some people are very worried that that something is wrong with the halving, hence also the thumbnail. And we are going to look at a couple of things that are happening right now, because the talks are big that we have already entered a bear market and no one realized. And I think we can look at a couple of things again that imply different. And we are also going to talk about Ecomi and VeVe, because the P word is coming again in circulation, so to say. So does VeVe have the Pokemon license? Is that finally a thing? Is there new evidence to it? So let's talk about all of that. Stay all the way through for that. So, good morning to every one of you. I see a couple of people already here. John Jimbo is here. Good, hey there. And Energy also here. Good morning, Energy, my man. How are you doing? Duck and Cover, long time no see. And Trucking Hank, my rare hodler, also as always. Like, Trucking Hank has the longest spree now that I've ever seen someone just constantly posting the GM in the beginning of the live streams. Probably Trucking Hank was here more than I was. I think that is probably right. Okay. So today, important event. The FOMC minutes are being released, and that means that probably it's going to have some impact on the price. Yesterday we saw some volatility, although until now I'm not quite sure why. But we can look at it. Also, J Double is here. Duck and Cover says usually too early for me. What? I think you are in my time zone, and it's 8 in the morning. But yeah, maybe even in the future we have to do it a little bit earlier than now. But who knows? We will see. That's probably good for the Americans here, right? But anyways, let's jump right in. Today we were, what is this? Here we go. Today we were a little bit later, so apologies for that. But, Agadendro, do I say this right? Good morning to you as well. So yesterday this happened. We were approaching this nice overhead resistance here at 61k, exactly where we have to break through, and we got rejected hard. This is the 1 hourly chart, but we can see it best in the 1 hourly how this rejection actually happened. And then we just got smashed 4 point something% to the downside. And now we are actually, as we are speaking, we are coming up again 1.6%, but as we are speaking, forming some green candles here, which is good. Overall though, we are not where we are supposed to be, in the sense of that here you see nothing really happened. I mean, there is volatility. We see the wicks here on the weekly, right? But so far, we couldn't break out of this trading range. If we go into, I think we see it best in the daily chart, this trading range here, or even in the 4-hourly, since 8th of August, we're basically in this. And we cannot neither break to the downside nor to the upside, but we have to go in above this orange line here. Alex also says, Aloha PH and Hodling fam. And Jasper Frank is here. Good morning to everyone, guys. Please smash up the like button. Forgot to say this somehow on the Rare Hodler screen. But anyways, smash up the like button and subscribe to this channel, because obviously we want to find out what is going on with the halving. So ideally, we are coming back in this above this orange trend line here, and say on a very macro scale this was only a fake out, meaning that in the monthly that we are closing the monthly in here, but that means we have to close above 62,000 and something, which is not unreasonable if today's and Friday's news are coming in positive, right? Again, reminder, today FOMC minutes, Friday Fed Powell speech at Jackson Hole. Okay, so these two events, they are very, very important for the Bitcoin price now, right? We're still, from an indicator perspective, we're still a little bit confused, I would say, by the bearish cross here and us coming in on negative momentum in the stochastic RSI, just right into the halving, which implies that sideways movement could go on into November. Like if we just draw a diagonal line, we would reach the downwards momentum here somewhere in November. So that is not good, obviously. Also, the RSI is cooling off. So we see a little bit of discrepancy here. But on the other hand, look at this pump that we had. And we said at many stages here before that a consolidation was due. Now we kind of have it. Maybe we will have it for a couple of more weeks. But I still think from a macro perspective, the cycle is intact. And let's look a little bit at some, yeah, exactly. So this was what I put on the thumbnail. Why? Because like if you look at the charts, 2016 and 2020 halving, compared to what we have right now, we're just absolute monsters, absolute beasts, right? So you see this also here, like here are the halving, the green lines are the halving lines, right? You have the halving, you have this quick blip to the downside, and then massive rally, right? Without looking back, it seems, right? If we're looking back in the details, we see a lot of big corrections in here as well, but massive rally. And we are in the monthly chart, so each of these events is a full month, right? So we have 2 red months also be afterwards after the halving, whereas here we are already in mixed months, like we are already in the 4th month after the halving, which is why these memes happen, right? And also here, after the halving, 1 red month, a big pump, another red month, and then pump without stopping, right? So there is a little bit of difference. On the other hand, though, what happened before the halving has been a little bit exaggerated by the Bitcoin ETFs. And now some people say, even yesterday I had a comment under the video, I think it was Wes, that said it could be that the bull run is over. And that and he wouldn't see why the bull run would continue. And I would say it could be. It's not 100% out of not 100% excluded. It could be that the bull run is somehow over and something really nasty happens. Like here, it happened before the bull run, right? These black swans, they can happen, right? And they end basically, if you want to consider this in terms of, for example, stochastic RSI or whatever other indicator, then the bull run started here and it ended here and you came into a bear market and then it resumed, right? So technically you could argue that this is a bear market, yeah? So this can happen, yeah, and maybe it's like announcement of recession crash, and then you resume your bull market, right? Because of excessive money printing. But the upside is coming. It just is a question of when and how and so on, right? So the upside is coming, and hence I would say this. We still have time to turn this dragon into one of the baddest dragons here, right? Presumably into this one. Because of the trillions of dollars. Like if you were talking about money printing and talking about the US debt, right? Just considering this, you can't go with like a little bit of money printing to fix things by this means. You can't. you have to do a lot, and it's actually happening. So where is it? I have this already up here. It's already happening. Look at this. This is from the like the Tether treasury money that's coming in. Yesterday I posted 2 times. Like I posted the first time. It's 4 hours, one from each other. Like, oh, nice. Another billion fresh liquidity is coming in, right? You see here $1 billion minted at Tether Treasury, and then it's like again another billion big money's coming in. So the liquidity inside for crypto is going up. Also, the rates of central banks are coming down. So second part here is important. Sweden's Riksbank or Riksbank cuts rates, and so we see here that where is the central bank here? In central bank's news, Sweden's Riksbank cut interest rates by 25 basis points, 3.5% from 3.75%, and signaled 2 to 3 more rate cuts this year. 2 to 3 more rate cuts this year is also one thing that is expected for the Fed, right? And that basically shows us many people, or a lot of people in the world, a lot of central bank people in the world, they are looking to cut the rates. And I think the moment that Powell is going on with this is also going to happen everywhere. So that will then boost, as a side effect, will boost the economy. I don't know if is my video camera lagging or something like that, because on my screen it's lagging. But here, this one's interesting from Hodl 15 Capital as well. Our daily dose of FUD. Here we go again. Mt. Gox just moved again, 13,265 Bitcoin. But they are almost done. They are almost done with what they had in terms of distribution. And if you see, this is maybe the most or the biggest reason for a sideways movement is we had the German government, 50,000 seized Bitcoin sold into the market. US government sold, or presumably sold, 10,000 Bitcoin, and before they also sold some Bitcoin, I think 2,000 or so. Mt. Gox distributed 95,000 Bitcoin plus the 13,000 that is there now. Celsius, Gemini, Earn, and Genesis Trading made distributions. And the market absorbed it all, and we're just sitting under 60,000. So this is obviously something bullish, I would say, if you consider that now the market is just holding stable despite of billions in Bitcoin being moved and absorbed. Also, regarding the altcoins, I think we should not worry too much about the halving regarding the altcoins. Here's news from Brazil. So the second Solana ETF is approved in Brazil. The product will be launched by Brazilian-based asset manager Hashdex. We see it here, second line. Hashdex Nasdaq Solana Fundo G Índice. Okay, so Hashdex partnership with local investment bank BTG Pactual. The Brazilian Securities and Exchange Commission, which is called CVM over there, has approved the second ETF. And according to the CVM database, the new Solana ETF, which is in a pre-operational phase, will be offered by Brazil Hashdex, an asset manager with over $962 million in assets under management. So Solana getting another ETF is probably very, very bullish, also for the entire altcoin space, because I think like countries like Brazil that went a little bit faster in adoption of crypto, they can be on the forefront of like having something like crypto index ETFs, where like one ETF is buying all the cryptos that are in the top 50 or so, which would then again boost the profits of altcoin hodlers. Obviously, you want to have your altcoin in the top 50, right? Or top 100 or whatever, right? There will be some of these things. Now, while you guys, not you like you that are here, that reminds me of the rush hour scene again. Like, you is blind. Not me, you. Yeah, that's what I said. Anyways, while other people, or the people that are watching and not commenting here, or the West, right, where they are fearful that the bull market might be over, and I even saw people said that I sold everything because this YouTuber said that bull market is over. That is a very high risk gamble, because there are people like VanEck that are not believing that the bull market is over. Listen to this. Let's listen together quickly.
This year, as you can see. But a new report suggests these businesses could be in store for a huge boost thanks to, of all things, well, what else these days? Artificial intelligence. So here to explain is Matthew Siegel, VanEck's head of digital assets research. This is an interesting development here, because usually we talk about underlyings and the miners and things, and how these things are supposed to be more high beta, bigger returns. What gives between that relationship with Bitcoin, the underlying, versus the miners?
Yeah, there's been a huge divergence year to date. Bitcoin's now up, say, 35%. These Bitcoin miners are essentially flat. So typically they are the higher beta plays on Bitcoin. And in the latest downdraft, they sold off quite a bit. And we think the market's missing a pretty strong underlying fundamentals.
Why? Why have they been selling off?
Just lack of interest, high beta, the unwind of the carry trade, like nothing specific that has to do with the Bitcoin
Nothing
miners
specific
that we can see. And what we do see is that week after week, these companies keep announcing new deals with AI companies, hyperscalers. We've seen at least 4 Bitcoin miners announce close to $1 billion revenue deals to transfer their energy to power AI, right? So we know that GPUs take about twice the power as CPUs, and we know that it takes about 4 years right now to connect to the grid in many locations. These miners have grid connections, and with a little bit of CapEx in some of these locations, they can repurpose these facilities in less than 1 year. The time value of that money, bringing that capacity on 3 years earlier, is huge. And these are typically companies with, I have to say it, bad balance sheets, either lots of debt and they all went bankrupt last cycle, or just continually issuing equity at the market. What these AI bids are doing is lowering the cost of capital and providing a more sustainable financing stream for these companies. So on our numbers, if they were to repurpose just 20% of their electrical capacity, we think the stocks can double with no change in the Bitcoin mining profits. So the numbers look very compelling.
All right, Matthew, help me with this. We just spent some time talking about the GDX. So that's the ETF that you guys are the issue of, okay? That's the gold miners. And so when we talk about gold also, you know, we've had this huge move in the dollar lower, which I know 4% doesn't sound like a lot in 6 weeks or so. It's a big move. We've seen gold make new incremental highs.
Guys, can you see this whole video all right? Because my camera is just, it seems that it's lagging, and I don't know if the transmission is super flat here for or super fine for the video. Please let me know quickly in the chat if you can, if you're not driving, if you can see everything all right. But as far as I see, so this guy, the VanEck guy, he's super bullish. He's looking into, obviously they're following strategy of investing into miners as well. Bitcoin miners, we saw that what the play here is for the miners, the early investment for the miners, why they have to sell off all the capex that they have to bring into the market. He was talking about that in the last cycle, that the miners were not really on the forefront. This whole video is 5 minutes long. I'm not going to play all the video here, but he basically says a little bit, or actually maybe we watch a little bit more, because he says that okay, so the video is flawless, then it's fine, then we can watch a little bit more. Actually, yeah, let's watch the rest of it as well, even though it's like a couple of minutes of video. But he's bullish. He's saying we are buyers. So let's see.
Is while the dollar's been making, relative lows over the last few months. But one thing that's not participating in this move is Bitcoin right now. So, it's had a series of lower highs, a series of lower lows. How do you explain that disconnect between what gold's doing right now and the way that Bitcoin's been acting over the last couple of months?
Yeah, so a few factors are at play. One is the unwind of various carry trades and growth, which has been struggling a little bit. And when you look at Bitcoin's correlation with the NASDAQ, it's at a 2-year high. It's well below the highs that we had in kind of late 2022, but it's a 2-year high. The second reason is there are forced sellers in the market. The German government has sold all of its Bitcoin, $2 billion worth.
Why
the US
us?
government is selling Silk Road related coins. There are 2 major bankruptcies where creditors have just been paid out. That's Mt. Gox and Genesis. So with all this forced selling behind us, and this is a typical seasonal pattern where Bitcoin tends to struggle in the kind of 1 to 3 months after the halving, which was in April, and right pre-election, as the market comes to grips with whatever candidate wins, we're in for 4 more years of reckless fiscal policy. The history is that Bitcoin really hits its stride at that point. So we're buyers here. We think it recovers.
So can you
We're buyers, so the last word is important, right? Here, we're buyers here, we think it recovers. And the explanation is like volatility panic because of the carry trade, Japan raising interest rate, basically countries pulling out of their carry trades and whatnot, right? So all that uncertainty and then markets going crazy. Plus, he also mentions Germany selling Mt. Gox distribution and so on, and Genesis distribution. So all of the stuff that we are talking here, so he seemed like he's probably watching our channel. I'm very sure of it. And so he's mentioning all of that, and he's saying we're buyers here. The only difference between him and a lot of people in the market is that he is going on TV, is confident, and that he is a successful multi-billionaire probably, that is leading an asset manager of significant size, right? So there are a couple of differences. On the other hand, you always have to be careful, obviously, because these people have a personal interest in you buying their product, right? So obviously, we always have to be a little bit careful when they're extremely bullish, because they in the end they want to sell shares of Bitcoin, right? But we also know that this guy has more than 30% of its private net worth, of his wealth, in Bitcoin, which makes him more credible than others that don't have that, right? So overall, I thought this was a pretty interesting one, a pretty interesting video. It's a little bit longer, but that was the most essential part here. And then also, while referring back to our dragon, to our a little bit weird dragon, it's not that we are not on track. I mean, look at that. For example, here from the bottom, in the similar time frame, from the bottom in that cycle where we have the baddest dragon, 2016, it's a 4x roughly to where we are right now compared, right? And then here also, and guess what, in our current cycle, it's also a 4x, just that the gains, like if you measure it, the 4x happened, just that the gains they have happened. Look here, for example, out of the green phase, the most gains, they have happened here, right? Here and here. Whereas in our cycle, the gains have happened before, and now you have some distribution, right? Here, excuse me. He's definitely a rare hodler. Yeah, exactly. Who of you is VanEck? Say it now. We want to know, and then give some Bitcoin, please. Anyways, this shows us that basically it's the best. So for example, here you see it's all evenly distributed, very slow run up, right? Which is why people feel better about themselves when this happens than when it happens in this way, for example. And you see even the C19 crash is in that, and still it held true with a 4x, right? So no matter what happens, even if we have a crash right now, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. Now, we already talked about the billions of USDT coming in. We will see it reflected in another chart later. But first of all, this also, it shows us what is going on. So this is the daily total token transfer volume. So how many tokens are transferred per day, and how much the volume is basically. And we see that we are very flat, right? So that means, so the observed increase in token transfer volume at the 57K level serves as an indicator of sustained demand for coins. This demand points to bullish outlook among many market participants, meaning this going up here means that the token demand is high at these levels, meaning that there are a lot of buyers in comparison to, for example, if you go, like if you look in these bear markets, you see this sharp drop off, right? The price lowers and you see this sharp drop off in demand. And the demand only increases when this bottom is in, right? So in true bear markets, after the halving, after the pump, you don't see token demand rise for a long time. Like this is a year or so. You don't see token demand rise at all, despite these little blips here when you're already at the end. The same goes for here, our last bear market. So during, basically from here, you still had token demands here, but you have this sharp decrease of token demand, and you don't have like the sideways thing here going on where it's like token demand up and down, right? So it implies that the token demand being on the rise, we didn't really have, since this bear market, we didn't really have an explosion in token demand like we had here, right? So this never happened in this cycle, meaning that this is very likely about to happen. You see this consolidation here though. This is exactly what we are seeing here right now, this consolidation. Look at how the price is in this consolidation, and then the token demand rises exponentially, leading to our top. Right, and the only token demand rise that we had is this, right? And this is where the ETFs were approved. And then the token demand fell quite a bit, but now it's rising again. So overall, we see this consolidation phase here in token demand. And it's also maybe, we see it here as well, right? In these phases, we see it as well. Now, with regards to the elections, and maybe also coming back to some comments from yesterday, now it's completely crazy. Yesterday we talked a little bit about that this rumor that Kamala Harris is going to hire Gary Gensler as Secretary of Treasury, which would be obviously weird, right? But now Kamala Harris also is backing President Biden's 44.6% capital gains tax proposal, the highest capital gains in history. The proposal also includes 25% tax on unrealized gains for high net worth individuals. Now, the thing is that most of the people in crypto, they are intending to become high net worth individuals. So you already have to, like this needs to be your ambition, right? If you're in crypto, to become a high net worth individual, maybe not this cycle, but in the next cycles. And then you don't want to be like taxed on unrealized gains. Let's say, this is really crazy because I don't know what the threshold is. I think it's probably very high, but who knows? Like, let's say it's only a couple of $1 million or so. Let's say you're in whatever degenerate altcoin, and this altcoin does 1,000x or so, but you're not selling, but you have to then pay 25% on the unrealized gains. That would be crazy, right? Let's say you miss the top, but let's say you have then 10 million in Baby Doge whale coin, and they want the 2.5 million from you, but you failed to sell, and it's going to zero, and you have to pay $2.5 million for that. That's crazy, right? So tax on unrealized gains is like the worst that can ever happen. Like, no one should be ever in favor of this, and don't behave like a poor person in the sense of that you want everyone else to be taxed and then wait for the stimmy check from the government. No, this is absolutely crazy. I mean, in the end, it shows what two sides you have against each other, right? In the end, in the US. I am not a US citizen, so every US citizen watching this and saying, wow, Patient Toddler is commenting on our elections, it's just interesting from a capital market side, so you do your own, right? Yeah, this is the question, Jasper. Are they going to track wallets? The moment that you have, first of all, the moment that you have Gary Gensler in government, probably they will. Secondly, if you don't buy everything like through DEXs, but on centralized exchanges like Coinbase, they will get all the data, right? Yeah, exactly. She's a joke, says Pro Legendary. Exactly. So this is absolutely degenerate. The problem with this is why also as a German citizen, I comment on this is the US is usually the example for the entire world. In many senses, we see it right now. So everyone's looking for Fed Powell to lower rates so that they can follow the example of the US. So whenever there's some country coming out with some super crazy stuff, like you remember the C19, like there were countries that did crazy stuff and then other countries said, this crazy stuff seems to be very valid, let's implement this here as well. I don't want this to be implemented in my country, right? 25% tax on unrealized gains is absolutely crazy. So for example, an example from my country, and that is also maybe relevant to think about with unrealized gains tax. So I live in Munich, right? So Munich is the most expensive city in Germany when it comes to housing market and also for many other things, right? So wherever a house with a terrain costs maybe together like €1 million, like buying the terrain and building a house on top of it, here the terrain without the house already is like $1 million or so, and houses that have been built 80 years ago or so, they are worth millions and millions if they are in the center of Munich, right? Like house with garden in center of Munich is like crazily expensive. So let's say you inherited this, and don't get me wrong, you already paid like 30% of that value by inheriting it because of inheritance tax, right? So the government gets it on top. Now, if you had a 25% unrealized gains tax, or even there is something that some leftist governments here, or leftist parties here proposed, 25% wealth tax, which means like your net worth and the house counts into it, and then you get taxed a one-time fee on that you have to give the government, right? It never has been executed. I think it never, at least not in my lifetime, but it was proposed several times. So what happened? Let's say your house is worth 4 million, 5 million, I don't know. Yeah, let's say it's 4 million for math's sake. So they would come and say, so your net worth is like 4 and something million, so you now have to pay 1 million, but you don't have 1 million in cash. Your house is your most valuable asset, right? So you technically, in that scenario, you would have to sell your house to be able to pay the tax, or take out an enormous loan with a risk of not being able to pay and then losing your house to it, right? So these ideas are super dangerous for everyone that is like dealing with some kind of property, and they are very, very anti-property, right? So if you think that you can make some money in crypto, you should already think ahead and say probably you don't want to be taxed in this way. Once you have 1 million or so, you will think different. Yeah. Pro Legendary says, is winning a lotto consider as unrealized gains? If you win it and you get the cash out, it's realized. And in Germany, I don't know in other countries, but in Germany, you get taxed on so if you win the lottery and you win 1 million, you don't get 1 million payout. You are getting taxed heavily on that first, before you even get it. But like there's unrealized gains are you have stocks, you have an ETF, it's up 100% over the last 5 years. So the gain of this 100% gain, that's the unrealized gain. So let's say you have $10,000 in an ETF, it's now worth $20,000. So you have $10,000 unrealized, and that gets taxed. And then let's say the market crashes, it goes back. Let's say you have the 25%, so you pay 2.5k on these 10,000 unrealized. The market crashes. You go back to you have to then file for tax, I don't know what, to get these 2.5k back. You can still get that probably back in these scenarios, but it sucks, right? It sucks because, yeah. And by the way, Germany has the 25% capital gains tax, so it's there, right? So you everything above 1,000 euros, if you get dividends beyond that or so, in a year, not on a month, in a year, you get 25% deducted from that. Yeah, that's the whole plan. Corporations to own everything. Welcome to modern slavery. Exactly. So this is, if you think this chain through, right? If you think this chain through, and probably it's the same in almost every country. Let's maybe an exception for Switzerland, but almost in every country it's like that. You get your salary, like your salary without the tax deduction. You have one value, and then they tax you like something between 30 and 50%, depending on how much you earn, and you get like, so let's say you earn $100,000 yearly. And what you actually get is like $50,000 yearly. And with that, you go to the supermarket and you purchase an item, but on that item there's another 19% tax in Germany. 19%. If it's food, it's 7%. Right? And then with what you have left over of your already 50% deducted salary, you invest in the stock market and you manage to make some gains, and they take 25% of those gains. Not even on unrealized, but on realized gains. The moment you sell, they take another 25%. And the same thing goes, like, from your salary you pay, I don't know, let's say you're earning like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 euros without not net, right? The real thing. They take you're obliged to put something into the what is it called? The retirement fund. And once you get your retirement, they are taxing that retirement as well. So it's really nice. Yeah, so you get taxed like everywhere, and there are even like, if you look at gas prices for refueling your car, it's like there are like 5 taxes on top of that. There is like the standard product tax. There is the ecological green whatever tax on it. There is a specific carbon emission tax on it. I don't know what. Like, it's crazy. And someone raised the very interesting question: is what if they can print their own money? Why do they even have to raise tax? And the answer to that was really nice. I thought about this a longer time, and I think it's actually true. So the reason why they need you to pay tax is that you have the feeling that your money is worth something. Like, if the government would print money and you wouldn't have to pay taxes, you would question if it's even worth something. Right, but the moment they increase the scarcity on basically on your workload, like on your workforce, they give you the feeling that your money is worth something, right? You always fear that they take away. If you fear that they take it away from you, it actually means it has a certain worth, right? Yeah. To make it worse, they waste your dollar. Yeah, exactly. So that is even better, right? So then they take this money and then they agree on whatever shenanigans that they have planned, and in the worst case it doesn't even in the best case it doesn't favor you, but in the worst case it's even to your disadvantage. Yeah, what about unrealized losses? So that is actually something Yeah, this will be interesting because with realized gains you can calculate them in tax declaration against realized losses, right? So that matches. But how about unrealized losses? So you could technically say if whatever unrealized gains they charge you, you can hold your OMI against it and always have the equivalent. Just joking, but you can have the unrealized losses always probably against it, yes. But let's say you're not an investor, but your house technically went up in value a lot. Then how do you hedge this, right? With unrealized loss, you don't want to create unrealized losses in risk plays just to hedge your losses. This is just it's a zero-sum game, because if you don't have in the end gains, they will tax the gains anyways, right? The unrealized gains tax is that people cannot stay 50 years in an ETF and just come out in the end and pay taxes. They want the money now, right? 26 people, only 11 likes. Like or leave, says Green Lantern. It's 30 people, 29 people, something about this. So please, guys, smash up the like button. It's really important for this type of stream. I know that we have brought some nice political philosophy again, but who cares, right? It's important sometimes to discuss these things. And I would appreciate that. Actually, 2 people took the invite to leave instead of like. That's fine. But please, smash the like button, and thank you, Green Lantern, for pointing that out. So here we see that the liquidity is already coming into the market, but the price didn't move, right? So we see it here. Whereas when the liquidity came into the market here, the price always went up with it, almost always. And then when you have a sideways movement in liquidity, then it implies that probably people are taking money out of it. Like you see here, this decrease led to a dump directly. Also here, decrease in liquidity, dump, right? But now the liquidity is rising sharp, and also probably not in the screenshot yet, the billions that have been minted in Tether Treasury yesterday. The price didn't really follow it yet. So we have some catch up to do here in that sense. So it didn't hit the market yet. I think maybe this money has been converted into Tether already, but it's still unstable. So actually we can look at it. Let's take a trading view on this. But first of all, the DXY is something that we talked about yesterday. So here's a really nicely drawn chart of the DXY. So the dollar against other currencies, strength of the dollar. When the strength of the dollar collapses, usually means it's being moved into assets. Move into asset means move into gold, move into buying something, move into stocks, but also move into crypto. So the DXY is a global view on people moving in and out of assets. The more the DXY drops, the more this move. You can say it's like a pulsing movement of capital into assets, capital out of assets. So DXY up is drain out of all assets, and especially risk assets first, and then it's moving back into. It's like the tides, right? It's moving back into the assets, but first the risk, the no risk, and then the less risk, and then the high risk, right? So we see here, every time, in every cycle, the DXY drops off, loses support, and then when it really loses support, like here, you have this full-blown parabolic rise in Bitcoin, right? So here also, the DXY drops, but then it loses support, and here's your parabolic run. Here it's already dropping, but it didn't have the immediate reaction, right? So this is because, first of all, people buy stuff like, for example, gold, right? This is why gold always rallies 3 months before Bitcoin. Gold is already rallying, the DXY is already dropping, okay? But now we need to see that the DXY is losing the support. If it loses the support and confirms it with the bearish backtest, we will already be in the parabolic run. So you see here, right here, it's a losing of support. Look at that. Pre-losing the support, we are here in the Bitcoin price action. not here. This is when it's already losing support. So DXY very crucial of money expansion in the world into assets. So this is also why we are following this since a long time. Let me refresh here actually how we're looking. So we are about on the monthly now. We're about to lose this level, right? We're at this level. We're exactly at this point, which is why probably the parabolic run is only weeks away. So we see actually we touched the resistance here. Now yesterday we talked about it. What happens if we see a bounce? So here we didn't exact. I mean this line is also not 100% exact, right? You can draw it like this. You can draw it like this. But what is important is what is crucial is that if you say this is a support line, right? This is a support. Actually, we should say there is a support area. Maybe we draw it like this. There is a support area and it comes in here, right? So here, do you see this confluence here and here and here and here, right? Here we have lost it and pumped immediately back, right? The measured move out of this is a massive drop, and it would look like this more or less if we get, like, maybe we get a little bounce, we lose it here, we come up for bearish retest, and then we fall. Okay, this is when the rates go down, the money printing goes up, and when we have our parabolic move. Yeah, you need a bigger mouse. What do you mean? Like bigger mouse? You need a bigger cursor. What do you mean, like this cursor? Let me know what you mean and I will potentially follow. Okay, so that is what we have seen here on the DXY. Now, there is another way of looking at this, and that is USDT dominance, right? So this is only Tether market cap. And Tether market cap is telling a different story, right? Because it says how much, what is in, actually this needs to be a little bit like this. What is in Tether? What is in Tether, and has it been allocated or not, right? So Tether is a little bit different because you can have DXY, so dollar converted into Tether leads to a rise in Tether even though the DXY goes lower, right? So Tether is on a move up since we have this big correction, right? Look at that pump, but has been taken out quickly. So we had this this downtrend, and now the big question is, will we get rejected here? Very likely. Look at this confluence. Big, huge confluence line here for Tether. What happens if Tether dominance rises? It means that, so it's like Bitcoin dominance, right? It means that the chunk of Tether gets allocated into coins, the market cap of the coins rises, Tether goes lower, right? So if we see this dropping, it means that all the Tether that is piling up here since months is piling up, stablecoin, is getting allocated to the market. So the whales, they're just watching and looking to allocate all of that money at once into the market, into the coins. Oh yeah, the pointer. I don't know. This is unfortunately the problem is I can use this here. I don't know if this is better. Or I have an idea. No, that's the emojis. Where's is it? Yeah, this here. I can use this to point. So here, what I mean, look, this is big enough, right? So what I mean is, like, you come up here, like Tether is piling on. So the Tether dominance rose like from 3.78% all the way up to 5%. That means almost 6. Here it was 6%, almost 7%. Here where we are right now, it's almost 6%. This means that if you take all the crypto market cap, 6% of it is in stables right now. Whereas here it was less than 4, right? Which means that if they allocate this is huge. Like, this is huge amounts if this gets rejected and drops down here, right? So what we're expecting now is, or we have expected this, right? And it came true. That was too much. But what we're expecting is a drop here for Tether, like the allocation. We expect this. Yeah. So very likely going to happen. Also, dominance, Bitcoin dominance that's the mini features. Bitcoin dominance, I think nothing too much happened. It's slightly red, so the altcoins are catching up. It doesn't really matter. We will have to see when it rallies, and then we will see if there is. Let's actually put this in. The best way to look at it is probably weekly and monthly. So this is the weekly. Yeah, it's slightly green right now. I think it will still rise more. It didn't really reach its target, so I think it will rise more here. The dominance, meaning that Bitcoin at the moment is still outperforming alts, even though we had a little blip here, but we will have to wait and see, right? And then altcoin season. Now, I'm talking way too much, so we're going to skip the market watch today because I need to talk about one thing regarding VeVe. So this is interesting. Let's talk about VeVe here. This is interesting. So 45% of parents who take their kids on a Disney vacation went into debt for the trip. This is, first of all, it shows the state of economy. It shows the degeneracy, but it also shows like people are overspending for stuff like Disney in an economy that is basically in a bear market. Yeah, we are very close to recession. People are without their jobs. People go into debt to finance trip for Disney. Disney is on VeVe. Imagine what people will do once in a bull market for Disney-related digital collectibles. I know no one wants to hear it. I know, yes, VeVe is dead and so on. But just take this into consideration here, that this could be a thing. And then also yesterday there was a space about Stacker, where they introduced the ease of buying Ecomi with USDC. So look at this. So here, so this is basically a swap. Like, they offer a wallet. They are covering the swap fees apparently, so that it's easier for people. I think they cover. They sponsor the fee somehow. That's what I understood. So that it's that easy, right? You see here, like the swap. It already happened. This is how easy people can get the OMI on Stacker. Now, this is good. But I'm not sure that, we will have to see when it's available for everyone to test, and I will also test it. I think I can't test it right now. You can look at the wallet on Stacker, but you can't test it yet. In the space, they were talking with Privy, which is the wallet provider. They were talking about because there were the allegations of Omi Watcher before that it's super insecure and whatnot. They were talking like half an hour or so only about security and how it's secured. So that was good. I like the transparency on that. It's not showing the slippage. That is true, but you can see it here, I think, on the dollar amount. So you see you see the $44.56, and then here is worth $45.45. So that's true. They should implement that. But overall, I think, it's bullish, because if you can then buy, if there's a possibility to buy with crypto, the collectibles, I think that is in the sense good. And how it works is basically the collectibles, they don't get transferred to Stacker. They just trigger probably via an API or something like that, the transfer within VeVe. So they do the transaction outside of VeVe, but they transfer the collectible, stays in VeVe and is only being transferred between the two interacting wallets. So basically they say, look, VeVe, here's a deal, and it's via API. They say this token ID has been bought by user X from user Y, and they do all the amount outside, but the transfer is inside, right? So that is interesting. I think this is overall a very good development. It's not ideal, as we said before. Ideal would be everything in VeVe, but apparently it's not possible. And also, now the best of the best. So there's this trailer for Pokemon, right? And for Pokemon TCG. And David Yu, he retweeted the trailer. VeVe Viral here was typing, why do you do this to us, you? Anyways, he actually, it's not a tweet, it's a Instagram story, right? Instagram reel that he retweeted or re-insta'd. So and the video is this, like, Pokemon is coming out with their TCG Pocket official release in October 30th. And it's funny because, like, David Ewell has, like, once per month or every 2 months or so, he has, like, a Pokemon related stuff. And you could argue he just likes Pokemon, right? So yeah, so what is this game? Actually, this game, I don't know, it doesn't seem that it has NFTs. So I don't know if there's anything to this game or it has anything to do with VeVe. But let's look at it here together quickly, like the trailer. So this would be great if we. I mean, this is exactly what I wanted for VeVe to have. That you can have, like, animations. That you can have, like, this where they slip the pack, right? Also, like in Hearthstone, pack animation. Like, this is incredible. The cards, they look really good, right? That is nice. So if there was some kind of integration, obviously it would be nice, but I don't think it happens. Let me get this a little bit lower here, like the sound. I don't think it happens for VeVe because it would be great, but from all that we've seen, I can't really imagine it. But on the other hand, remember that Pokemon filed for a patent for NFTs and with, like, transaction fees and whatnot. This is very cool, like, that you can, if you press on the collectible, that you can get an animation and then a 3D view into the card artwork, stuff like that. So if there was something like an interaction with, like, a 3D collectible or so, it would be insane, right? So the possibilities of thinking here are really great. But I would say from all the previous expectations that we had with VeVe, I would say, hey, the very likely scenario is just that David Yu likes Pokemon and that he thinks it's cool, or even that he's still working on the license and therefore he's retweeting that stuff, whatever, stuff like that, right? So I think the latest things that have been put out about Pokemon from VeVe was that they clearly said they don't have the license. We don't have the P license. We don't have Pokemon, whatever, right? They said that. And that David Yu said, I think, in one AMA or so, that he would camp all day outside of Pokemon Company to get the license. So I really hope, like, it would be the biggest deal in VeVe's history. Would it change something about the current sentiment? Maybe a little bit. If they would announce it, I think it would be something definitely to drop in the peak of the bull market if they have it. Now this game is announced, or this game is teased. We don't know if there are any NFTs involved. Actually, I don't know anything about this at all. I've not seen it. But we saw before on this channel that there is this NFT filing for Pokemon trading cards in a certain game. So if Pokemon was to come out saying that these cards are NFTs, no matter which chain that is on and no matter which project that is, I would go for it. because I think that would be really fun. But ideal would be it's VeVe somehow, but I can't see it. I can't see it in this version. Maybe if VeVe comes out with a better marketplace, improvement of the app and so on, because also you have to see like the market at the moment. You see the market with the Marvel comics, how complex it is, or actually not complex, how simple the market is, but how difficult it is to find the right comics and browse and look for things, right? It needs to be better for tons of cards that you would have for a TCG, right? And also like pack animations, like it would be a waste of opportunity if you don't have animations, like the whole thrill with people opening up packs, also being able to guard, like you have to be able to buy packs and have them sealed, right? So the whole mechanic behind this needs to be in a way that you can have ownership of a pack, and once you open the pack, you have ownership of the cards, or even you have like it has to be that the cards still are sealed in the pack. You cannot find out via Block Explorer or whatever, like Immuta Scan or whatever, what cards are in a sealed pack. If you can find that out, no sense at all, right? So there's a lot of stuff to consider, but I think this, I think it just looks really, really good. Like these animations here. Look at that. Like these animations here. This just looks really, really good. Also here they had these holo cards here where they are on the, and that you can play with it. This would be the ideal way to say for an app like VeVe, we implement gamification, right? It would be ideal. I'm not saying that they have it, but it would be ideal, because it's not a game where you have to develop a world like a metaverse or something like that. You just have to supply basically NFTs for TCG. You can supply, actually, you can even supply only the purchase, the primary and the secondary market, and the rest is somewhere else, right? If that would be it, it would be amazing, right? Yeah. I mean, can they have it? Yes, they could have it. Do they have to compete if they have it? No, they don't. They don't have to. VeVe could never compete as NFT hero. So what do you mean by that? It's like, yes, if another app has this, then it's, first of all, it's good for the space, and secondly, yeah, it would be bad for VeVe because they don't have Pokemon, right? But VeVe has Marvel Comics, and if another company brings this, I would go to this other company and I would buy it there, because I want to buy the Pokemon cards on chain, right? The first on chain cards that are coming out, I want to buy them, obviously, no matter where it is launched. And probably it's going to boost the market overall. So no matter how, Pokemon moving into the realm of NFTs would be a good thing. But yeah, we will see. We'll have to wait and see. But David Yu is posting about it. At least we can take that fact in, and we will see how it plays all out. Now, guys, make sure to smash up the like button if you haven't yet. I hope the likes are a little bit higher. My camera is lagging again. I don't know. This is probably from the computer, though. The likes a little bit higher, hopefully, right now on this stream. Subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments below if you watch this after, if you believe that VeVe has Pokemon, or if you don't believe that. And NFT Hero says, people say VeVe is not even on chain. I mean, this discussion is as old as the bear market, because outside of the bear market, no one actually cared about the way that Immutable X did it. I have discussed this with Hello K here on stream. If you want to watch it somewhere in the playlists on Patient Hodler with Guests, there is this talk. And it's basically, just to sum it up here in 1 minute or so, Immutable X is not a blockchain. But what Immutable X does is they take the transactions and they mint the transactions on L1, but the token itself is in a database. So the token itself is not minted on chain. It could technically be with immutable technology that you mint the token on chain, but it's in a database, right? But the proof of ownership is on chain. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. This is more clearly described. This is more clearly described in the talk that I had with Hello K about what is exactly going on. So you can watch that. Anyways, I have to jump now. Unfortunately, FC 415. I hold VeVe NFTs. Nice. Hold Ecomi tokens. You don't have to you don't have to hold one or the other. You can have only one. Andre Omega says thank you, PH. So thank you everyone for discussing with me here today. It was super interesting, a nice stream. And wherever you are on the world, have yourselves a great morning, evening, day, night or afternoon. And I see you hopefully tomorrow at Crypto Morning.